Welcome to Journaling with Nature, the podcast for those who want to turn curiosity into wonder, a pencil sketch into a rabbit hole of discovery, a moment of stillness into a life full of joy. I'm your host, Bethan Burton. Let's open the pages of our nature journals and explore this world together. Hello, this is episode 186. I hope you're well. I'm actually looking out the window right now and I'm excited to see blue sky finally after we've just had so much rain here. We're back in Brisbane after a short trip to Sydney for a book event to meet an author called Amy McNee, who's an incredible writer and supporter of artists. And her book is called We Need Your Art, and it's really wonderful. I'll leave a link in the show notes where you can learn more about the book if it sounds good to you. I've been following Amy for a really long time now, and it was great to meet her and give her a great big hug. Another amazing thing that happened when I was in Sydney was that I met up with two uncles that I haven't seen for decades. They're my father's brothers. And actually I had the chance to see hundreds of pieces of my paternal grandmother's artwork. My paternal grandparents met at art school, and my grandmother's work is really inspiring to me. A couple of years ago, I got to see some of her work in digital form because my uncle had documented them with high-quality photographs. But seeing them and holding them and leafing through her sketchbooks, it was really something else. I found some pages that were from 1930 and they were nature journals. And they made me cry, actually, because it was this incredible connection between her and I, and somehow through my father. And my father passed away a few years ago. So it was a very emotional experience holding her work. And it's a story and a feeling that I'm still exploring, but it's fresh in my mind. And I wanted to tell you about it because I was holding her artwork this week and it was really meaningful. So watch this space because I'm going to talk about this particular story more in the future and explore her work and how that relates to my own nature journaling. So another thing that happened during the Sydney trip was that there was Lee Putman's workshop about sketching live owls. That was for the Royal Academy of Arts, and it was an event called Saturday Sketch Club. And I was lucky that this event was during Australian waking hours, which isn't always the case. So I had my ticket to that event, and because I was staying in Sydney with my aunt, who's also an artist, we did the session together, and my son also wanted to join in. So we were all three lined up at the desk with the computer in front, watching Lee sketching owls. It was such a fun communal thing to do together, and I noticed a few things during that session. I noticed that owls are really hard to draw because they're kind of amorphous. The head blends into the body and it's not really clear where the parts are and they're not really well delineated. But anyway, that's fine. The owls in the studio with Lee were incredibly calm and they were moving their heads around a bit and they opened their eyes and closed their eyes. They were quite remarkable to watch. But another thing that I noticed was the way we, as the artists, were speaking to ourselves and to each other about our art. My son's been sketching beside me since he was a baby, but quite young he started to criticize his own artwork and compare it to mine. He wants to be good at things, and I say that with inverted commas because good, of course, is a subjective classification. And we've had lots of talks about growth mindset and practice and how practice helps us grow our skills. And when he says that his drawings aren't as good as mine, I'm able to say that I've had 40 years more practice than he has had. But I look at his work and I think it's incredible. So during Lee's workshop, I was listening to the ways that we were talking about our own work, and he was saying mine's no good or yours is better than mine, and I was laughing at my own drawings and saying mine looks like a snowman instead of an owl, and saying that I preferred his drawings to mine because I wasn't happy with my sketches, and I knew I shouldn't talk like that about my work in front of him because I should be modeling a growth mindset. But it kind of just came out and I realized I could have spoken differently about my work. And something else I noticed was that we were really good at saying what we liked about the other person's work. My son is super good at this. He always says things like, I really like the way your lines captured the texture of the feathers, or I like the way you made dark shadows here. He's really good at picking out something lovely to say to encourage me and others. And I was doing the same to him. And it got me thinking, why are we so good at speaking kindly about others' work, but not about ourselves? So for today's prompt, I think it's a good reminder to speak with gentle encouragement to ourselves and to others, but this comes more naturally, I think, about our work. What's one thing that you can find in your work that makes you happy or that you like? What did you do well, and what can you say to yourself that will be encouraging? I wonder if you've got this issue too of speaking to yourself or criticizing your own work much more than you would the work of someone else. Do you find yourself really able to find something lovely in the page of the person next to you, but not about your own page? There's something that happens to artists that we kind of have to say that we know that we messed up here or there, rather than just standing behind our artwork and being happy to have made something. It's like our work makes us vulnerable in some way unless we point out that we know what's wrong with it. But what if we look at what's right with it too? So this week, I invite you and myself to give ourselves gentle feedback about our pages. What do you love about your creation? Have a look at your page and think about what you'd say if you were giving encouragement to someone else, and give that same encouragement to yourself. Do you like the freedom of your lines? Do you like how you combined words and pictures? Do you like the way you used color? Do you like your use of darks and lights to bring out the depth of the subject? What gentle words can you give yourself to encourage you to keep going? And what about giving some gentle words to someone else? Someone online or someone who's creating near you? I invite you to find someone who's journaling and give them some lovely words of encouragement. If you are on social media, you could find a page and leave a comment for that person on what delights you about their work. Or if you're in a group, you could tell the person next to you what you love about their page. These words to ourselves and to others can be so helpful in boosting confidence and encouraging us to keep going. It makes me so happy when my beautiful son offers me gentle words of encouragement. And I guess the next step is to help him and myself to speak gently to ourselves too. Thank you so much for listening. See you next week.